every person, every human being has the legal right to come to the United States and seek asylum or shelter. But in terms of mass deportation, our officers will not play a role in that. And, we have not gotten any advance notice from the Trump administration about what they'll do.
We stand with immigrants. You belong here. Somos una ciudad de inmigrantes. Boston doesn't back down. We are a city where the Irish coffee is strong and our opinions are stronger. We may not always agree or see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we are a family. If you come for one of us, you will get all of us.
Several days later.
Over 6 days, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents arrested 370 people in Greater Boston. Investigators say they are violent offenders or gang members who are in the country illegally. And according to the so-called border czar, some of them were released by local law enforcement because Massachusetts law restricts who can be held under an ICE detainer. WBZ's Tammy Mutasa shows us this massive operation.
Tonight, ICE says the raids targeted some of the most dangerous offenders in this area. The arrests coming after a high-profile debate between the border czar and elected leaders. In his own words, Trump's border czar Tom Homan says he made good on his promise to come to Boston, find and arrest who he called illegal alien rapists walking the streets. Pictures show the results of a 6-day operation in Boston and Massachusetts where he oversaw hundreds of ICE arrests as the agency teamed up with the FBI and ATF to target criminal organizations.
I'm coming to Boston. I'm bringing hell with me.
370 people were arrested, including 4 fugitives charged or convicted of murder, 1 wanted for organized crime and money laundering. Gang members from notorious groups like MS-13 and Trinitarios were also busted, and child predators.
Well, I'm not surprised. I expected that they would come in and do a sweep like this.
WBZ law enforcement analyst Ed Davis says there are thousands of active warrants in Massachusetts right now.
Those tens of thousands of names can be cross-referenced with people who have immigration detainers or other immigration actions against them, or some who are just not showing up as U.S. citizens.
All right, guys, so once again, we got to talk about the woke Democrat mayors who are harboring illegal immigrants, going out of their way to try to prevent ICE from carrying out mass deportations, from protecting the American people, because Democrats seem to care more about illegal immigrant gang members than they do law-abiding citizens and protecting law-abiding citizens from these illegal immigrant gang members. Okay, I've never seen anything like it. Democrats are literally crying about deporting gang members, right? This is what they're doing, right? This is the hill that they're choosing to die on. And we got to talk about one mayor in particular here, Boston's mayor, Michelle Wu, okay, who is probably the wokest or one of the wokest among the woke mayor Democrats, which again is hard to really imagine, right? Like, can you imagine somebody more woke than Brandon Johnson? I don't know. Michelle Wu could be more woke, okay? But she has been speaking out against Tom Homan, okay? She has been challenging the Trump administration because she is defiant in her stance to protect the illegal immigrant gang members. And we're talking about some of the worst of the worst, okay? That is who Michelle Wu is trying to protect. In fact, in Boston, Massachusetts, really the whole state, to be honest with you, it is really hard for ICE to operate just due to the fact that, quite literally, the police are catching and releasing illegal immigrant criminals who are committing the most heinous crimes that you can think of. Like, for example, a local news outlet actually did some real journalism and asked the question of whether or not it is true that Boston police are catching and releasing illegal immigrants who have been accused of child rape.
So sheriffs can't hold someone who's been bailed out of their jail. The next logical question is there a standard bail set for people charged with child rape in Massachusetts? We went back into those ICE press releases to find out. Take this man, arrested by ICE in February. He was charged with 3 counts of rape of a child by force in 2022. He posted his $7,500 bail at Essex Superior Court and was released on a condition of staying in his residence. Or this ICE arrestee, charged with aggravated rape of a child. He was released from Lawrence District Court on $7,500 bail with a GPS monitoring device. Finally, this man. He was charged with indecent assault and battery on a person over 14 and assault to rape. He was released without bail, but with a GPS monitoring device. All of these cases are ongoing, and none of these men have been convicted.
Does that seem like an appropriate bail amount?
Well, it doesn't to me.
But Stephen Roth, a criminal defense and immigration attorney, says these bails are set by judges to reasonably assure someone reappears in court, not to ensure someone remains in custody.
There's a list of criteria that they go through. Immigration status is not one of those categories.
Prosecutors may also request a dangerousness hearing to keep a defendant behind bars. But attorney Jennifer Roman says detention all the way until trial is rare.
Their primary focus is to ensure the safety of the public while minimizing the restraints or constraints on the defendant.
We know these two men had dangerousness hearings and were in jail for a period before they were released from court with conditions. This man, only 19 years old, did not have a hearing.
When I ran for office, I promised I would cooperate with all the officials that could help keep my community safe.
Sheriff Evangelitis now supports a bill filed by 2 Republican lawmakers, which allows him to hold inmates wanted by ICE for an additional 36 hours. It also asks judges to take immigration status into consideration when setting bail.
I think immigration status is a big factor in whether people are going to voluntarily come back to court.
And Louisa, thank you for bringing this important information to our viewers tonight. How does ICE know when a suspect that they would want to detain is in custody?
Yeah, well, Courtney, it really depends on who takes them into custody. Some law enforcement agencies might call ICE. The Worcester County Sheriff says some may not. And the court system actually has a policy. They will not actively reach out to ICE, but they will not impede ICE if they show up in.
Yeah, so it is a damn shame that this is happening in our country, where there are states and cities that if you are an illegal immigrant gang member and you commit some of the worst crimes imaginable that you can think of, that you would get a slap on the wrist, catch and release. They put you in jail, they don't cooperate with ICE, and then they let you out after you meet your bail, right? And in some cases, the illegal immigrants don't even have to pay bail, right? Put a little GPS monitoring device on them. Who knows? After a few weeks, the illegal takes it off and the police don't even bother going after the illegal again because they aren't going to do anything but just catch and release them. So again, that is essentially what is happening in this country, right? And you have Boston officials, Democrats like Michelle Wu, that currently is stopping the federal government from enforcing our laws and from protecting our country, right? That's what they're doing. So with that being said, Tom Homan launched a massive ICE raid operation in Boston, and now the Democrats are boohoo, whining, and crying, demanding answers, right? They're demanding answers. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
ICE just completed a major operation in Boston, 370 arrests, including fugitives, gang members, and accused killers. Now, we received this statement from the city concerning ICE's work. Here we go. Boston is the safest major city in the country, and we partner with all levels of law enforcement to prevent crime and hold perpetrators accountable. Given that we have no information on these arrests, we cannot confirm how many took place within the Boston police jurisdiction or in other cities. And we cannot confirm whether every individual was lawfully detained. We strongly urge ICE to release information on all the individuals detained in order to ensure transparency. All right, joining us now.
You know what the Trump administration should do in response? They should say, sorry, we don't cooperate, right? We don't cooperate with these local cities, right? That's what they should say, okay? As a jab at these local cities for, again, refusing to cooperate with the federal government, okay? And it's just funny how that works. They don't want to cooperate to arrest the illegals. And then ICE, they go out of their way. They spend extra resources, tax dollars, to arrest the illegals because the cities don't want to cooperate. And all of a sudden, these cities, the Democrats, are boohoo, whining, and crying, demanding that ICE cooperate with them. And it's like, nah. That's not how this works, okay? That's not how this works at all.
Border Czar Tom Homan. All right, Tom, will you share information with the mayor on those arrested?
Yeah, we never hide anything. I can tell you, they say their city's safer. It's safer now because of the actions of ICE. ICE took we arrested 370 illegal aliens in Boston and the surrounding counties, not just Boston. Majority of them were criminals. We had, numerous collateral arrests, and I've said it before in the show, and I'll keep saying it. Collateral arrests are going to be, people who aren't criminals that are found when we're looking for the criminal are going to be taken into custody. That's why we want access to the jail. Let us in the jail, arrest a bad guy in the jail, because when we go to the community, we'll find them. Most likely be with others. If they're in the country illegally, they're coming too.
Why did you feel like you needed to oversee this operation personally in Boston?
I've been on numerous operations sanctuary cities. I was in New York, I was in Chicago, I'm in Boston. I show up usually the first day to talk to the men and women about to do this operation. First of all, tell them, that we're going to keep President Trump's promise on arresting public safety threats and national security threats first, and also to make sure they all go home safe to their families that night. So I did this for almost 40 years, and I go out there and just kick off the operation, let them do what they do. I generally leave after the first day and let them continue doing what they're doing, and it's a morale builder. I think the men and women are finally getting to do the job. ICE were handcuffed for the last 4 years, so now they can actually out and do their job, arresting public safety threats. So it's a teamwork effort. I'm glad to be a part of it.
How many thousand have you deported? The worst of the worst going out first. How many thousand have gone so far?
I can tell you, I look at the numbers this morning. Since President Trump's been in office, we're about 44,000 arrests in the interior of the United States. We arrested more criminals in the first 2 months of the Trump administration than Biden did in the entire year. So we're going about 3 times the arrests Biden did. I'm not satisfied yet. I think we need to be doing more. 3 times more than Biden is not good enough for me, because he wasn't doing anything. So we need to do 10 times more than Biden.
I appreciate the fact that Tom Homan is saying that the job they've done thus far, which in my opinion I think is a great job, is not good enough, right? That's the exact type of attitude that you need. It's not good enough. We got to do better, even if you're already doing great. And the reason why I say they're doing great is because besides the numbers on paper, I guarantee you that the deportation numbers look a whole lot better when you consider the amount of people who have self-deported, right? Who have decided that, we're going to leave, we're going, right? I mean, they got Rosie O'Donnell out of here, right? I mean, I'm just saying, if Rosie decided to leave, I think it is not unreasonable to conclude that a lot of illegal immigrants here decided to leave as well too, right? So when you got people self-deporting, okay, on top of the documented arrests and deportations, again, I think he's doing a good job. And I think that people don't think enough about the amount of people who are not coming to the border as well, right? Because now you have less people coming through the border, more people are self-deporting, and you have the official arrests and deportations. Yeah, all that considered, I think he's doing a great job. But they could be doing a lot better if it wasn't for these woke mayors and woke governors that are quite literally using the resources of their state to try to block the federal government from doing mass deportations. Could you guys imagine the number that would be at if California cooperated, Illinois, New York, right? All these sanctuary states. Okay, again, this is where most of the illegals are, right? Most of the illegals are in these blue states. If the blue states were cooperating, if the blue cities were cooperating, then I'm pretty sure that the administration would be at 500,000 deportations by now. Bare minimum. Bare minimum. Okay? They'd be bare minimum 500,000. But hey, we have to deal with these Democrats, right? And they're defiant. So it is what it is. Regardless, again, I think they've done a pretty good job thus far.
An appeals court judge says that Nazis receive better treatment than those deported Venezuelans. Would you like to respond to that, Tom?
Well, it's disgusting, right? With comparing us to the Holocaust, comparing us to the Nazis. I mean, come on, give me a break. I don't even know what the comparison even means. All I know, we follow the process. The President of the United States, through his proclamation, invoked the authorities he has within the Alien Enemies Act, an act that was enacted by Congress and signed by the President. We're enforcing the law with the laws that are on the books. We're not making this up. Unlike the last administration, who several district court judges said not only were they ignoring the law, they're actually violating the law when they're abusing the parole process. We're going to use every tool in the toolbox to arrest public safety threats and national security threats and get them out of this country. The President Trump committed to the American people, the worst first, that's what we're doing. That plane, TD-8, MS-13, They're a designated terrorist organization. We were removing over 200 terrorists from this country, and we're going to keep doing it because that's what the American people want.
Next week.
Facts. I agree with Tom Holman. They should just continue to double and triple down, right? Just do what you got to do at this point, right? I support it. Whatever you got to do what you got to do to deport as many illegal immigrants as possible, okay? This is a winning issue, and Democrats are looking really bad defending the indefensible when it comes to these illegal immigrants. This is a real issue that the Trump administration is trying to fix, right? And he is doing a great job at it. He has great approval ratings on this issue. So, yeah, I think they should double and triple down, okay, and let the Democrats keep crying, because the more they cry, the more out of touch they look with the American people. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.